The roof is going to be closed, despite what we were led to believe beforehand. Is that good news from your perspective?
For me personally, it doesn't change too much. I was at Racing for 5 years. They've got an indoor stadium, so I'm pretty used to it. I think the weather conditions changed over the week, so that's why it's now closed. So I think it'll make for an exciting, fast, free-flowing kind of game of rugby tomorrow. It will mean it gets slightly greasier inside with humidity, but that'll be both teams under the same conditions. So whether it's open or closed, I think it doesn't change too much.
You've been part of several Scotland teams that have come to this stadium and not been able to find a way to win. What is it about this stadium and this moment that you think this team can get a different outcome?
I think the atmosphere in the stadium, it's one of the best in the world here. And when the Welsh boys put that red jersey on, they become different when they're at clubs. So it's a massive challenge for us coming down here to try and win. We won it 2 years ago, I think, but it wasn't here without a crowd after COVID stuff. So coming to a Principality which is going to be packed out with Welsh fans is a completely different challenge to 4 years ago, for us. But it's an exciting one. We've got a few new faces. Off the back of a sort of disappointing World Cup, we've got a point to prove as well. So I think both teams have. So it should be, like I said, an exciting game tomorrow.
It's an experienced Wales team. A lot of people making Scotland favourites. Does that add any pressure, and what are you expecting from a Wales team that maybe people aren't as familiar with?
I think Six Nations, there's a few changes with all the teams, whether that's players or management, and that makes it exciting this year, even more so than other years. I think there'll be players looking to cement their future in the Welsh team tomorrow, and they'll be looking to put on a show for the coaches. So that makes them even more dangerous. If it's a team that's regularly there, that you can kind of preview, roughly what they're going to do, it makes it slightly easier for us defensively and attacking wise to kind of create a game plan. Whereas tomorrow we've kind of focused on ourselves, as we don't know what the Welsh team's going to bring. So that it makes it a different sort of challenge for us, but again an exciting one for us to come down here and try and beat a raw kind of Welsh team.
Finn, you've left here with regrets before. What's the hope for tomorrow?
The hope's for a win, obviously. I think we've been down here. At times we've played well, not managed to win. At times we've not performed to our best. I think tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, we focused highly on ourselves this week. So for us to put a good performance out there and start a tournament well is the aim, and ideally that's getting a win. As I've mentioned again, it's not an easy place to come in front of, I don't know how many it holds, 80,000 Welsh fans. But again, it's an exciting challenge for us who are going to take the pitch.
Talk about the importance of self-belief. Scotland having self-belief until the game 12 months ago with Murrayfield. You had a self-belief, you had, in the nicest sense of the word, arrogance about you, healthy arrogance. Do you need to bring that kind of self-belief, that healthy arrogance to the pitch tomorrow?
I think we all have to bring that, belief in ourselves, more so than arrogance. We can't take this Welsh team lightly at all. They're brilliant players at club level, and when they come to Wales and put the international top on, it's a different team you face, obviously. I think we've got to come here with full belief and confidence in ourselves, but we know that we need to start this game as quick as we can to try and take the crowd out it and to try and get our foothold into the game early on.
And the crowd is an important factor, isn't it? Because if the Welsh team get up ahead of steam, that crowd becomes engaged and becomes incredibly loud. It's possibly the loudest crowd in the world.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I've played here a few times, so there's quite a few boys in the team that won't have ever played here before, with a full house with the roof closed. So it's going to be a new experience for quite a few boys in our team. So I think for me, again, building that belief and that confidence and finding a way if things don't go right to get back to what we've trained this week and last week, and just get on to that next job and have that focus if the game's not going as planned. But also if it is going as planned, to make sure we keep resetting, we keep coming back to what we've spoken about this week and we don't get too carried away, as everyone knows in sport it can change really quickly with the crowd here. If they get into the game, they can have an influence on obviously the Welsh team, our boys that aren't maybe used to it, the referees potentially. You never know what 80,000 Welsh fans can create and can do tomorrow. So for us it's about just being focused on our job and making sure we come here confident.
Have you spoken to the guys who haven't experienced this before about the crowd and the need to deal with the crowd?
We've not mentioned it yet. I think with the roof closed, it's something we're definitely going to have to mention. With the roof open, it's an amazing atmosphere, but with the roof closed, it'll be even louder. So that's something we might bring up to tonight. But that's probably for me, just to pick up with certain players and just have a kind of casual chat with them and sort of let them know what it's potentially going to be like, and just to be themselves. I think that's the main thing. They'll embrace it, they'll enjoy it, they'll have a different experience to me. So them be themselves, be confident, and go out there and have some fun. Especially for the new caps on the bench. For them, they've never played Alex played for England, but they never played for Scotland before. So for them to make sure that they're ready for the challenge that awaits and that they have fun out there.
Who do you think your favourites?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think with the Welsh side being a slightly different side to the previous years, I think people would think that Scotland are potentially favourites. However, I don't view it like that. I think we've not won here in 22 years, so that kind of shows that it's obviously not an easy place for us to come and win. And yeah, we've got a more experienced team, but that doesn't always count on the day. They've got very exciting players that are going to be playing with freedom, I think, and that's part of the joys of having a youthful team, that they're a lot freer than potentially than we'll be, because we are more experienced, or we'll go and overthink the game. You never know. So I'm not too sure who's favourites. I think it'll be an exciting game, but I can't really say who's favourites.
They're a side, just last one for me. They're a side you could argue that have got nothing to lose because they're so young, and so the catch total is so low. 8 of the squad haven't played in Six Nations before. That's all a recipe for nothing to lose.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why I can't say who's favourites. They'll be playing with freedom, with nothing to lose, as you said. And I think that's the danger that we've got in front of us. So for us, we'll have to lean on our experience, but on the other side, they'll be doing maybe the opposite and playing with that freedom and having a go. If things don't go as planned to them, it probably won't affect them, I wouldn't imagine, because they're young, it's their first time playing it, and they've got a chance to experience a Six Nations. So I think it's a very dangerous team that's in front of us tomorrow.
Finn, how different has this week been for you as captain? I mean, you're always aware of the responsibility you have during matches to make things happen, but emotionally, has it been a very different sort of build-up to a test match?
For me, I think this week I've kind of focused more on getting the clarity right and everyone knowing their roles. So when it comes to the game tomorrow, with the atmosphere and in the stadium, we can go back on our clarity and our role knowledge to get us back into the game if we need to. The emotion, Jamie touched on it a little bit after the captain's run there, but I think with what I've experienced with the atmosphere here down at Principality, that emotion should be kind of come out itself, I think. For the anthems, the crowd, I think that would be enough to get the boys up for the game, obviously. I think it's potentially just making sure that boys are themselves, and I think having that role knowledge and the clarity allows them to do that. They don't have to think about the plays, the shape, what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do in certain areas of the field, and they can just be themselves out there.
I was just wondering, sort of like the captains in many sports talk about the role taking a lot more out of them in the build-up to matches, but you feel you've got that balance right?
I've not felt it too different, to be honest. I think as a 10 you've got a big leadership role in the team as it is. There's a little bit more media to do, but that's about the only difference I've found this week. Maybe talking a little bit more in team talks and huddles, but I wouldn't say it's anything that's been too different to a normal week for myself.
But there are players in this Welsh team who were born the last time Scotland won here. You must be viewing this as a real opportunity now to put that hoodoo to bed, because Wales are at the start of the cycle and they probably had to make more changes than they would have liked to very quickly. You don't have to deal with Alan Wynne-Jones, Ken Owens, Justin Tipperick anymore. To not have those characters out there for Wales, you must be looking at this as a real opportunity. Yeah,
it's definitely an opportunity. I think every time you play international, you've got an opportunity there. We played Wales last year, and in the end we beat them well. And again, it's potentially that transition when Gatlin had just come back in. This year, a few changes in the players is different again. So I think although it's an opportunity, it's still a huge challenge ahead of us. And like we've said, we've not won here in 22 years. So it's not as if we can come here and expect to win just because there's some younger players in the Welsh team. I think they're all brilliant players and they're maybe inexperienced, but I don't think that changes how good a rugby player they are.
Do you lean into that statistic? Have you talked about that this week, about the struggles that you have had here?
Yeah, we've mentioned it this week in terms of how big a challenge it's going to be coming down here, and we can't let anything from the outside come into the camp and talk about maybe the inexperience that they've got, how we've got more experience. We can't allow that to come in because it is such a big challenge coming here as a kind of record show, obviously. So I think that's been the main focus for us is coming down here, preparing ourselves as best we can for the game, and mentioning or touching slightly on the last 22 years how we've not won down here, but it's not been a major focus. It's more just highlighting how big a challenge it's going to be coming down here tomorrow.
I know it's a cliche, but how important is the sort of first 20 minutes tomorrow? Because yes, the crowd, but also that inexperience in the Welsh side. If they do go behind, they might not see a way back. Yeah,
I think the first 20 minutes is going to be hugely important. I think for the crowd especially, if we can not keep them quiet, because I don't think that's kind of possible down here. But if we can do our best to kind of get ahead, or to make sure we're putting them under pressure, putting the kicks in the right place, getting ourselves into the game, and kind of feel our way in from there, I think that's going to be massively important, as it is for every Test match. But I think with the crowd here, it's potentially even more so important. And with the players, I think if we do go ahead, I don't think that'll change much for either side. That's rugby. They might go ahead, we might go ahead. Who knows? I think it's more us just starting out with the right intensity that we're going to need for the 80 minutes.
And moving into Britain, please.